Today's our topic is the tissues. This is the second chapter. Tissues. So the tissue. A tissue is a group of cells made up of a similar structure and having similar function. It is designed to make a specific task. Such kind of cells are called tissues. So let us give the definition. So tissue means it is a group of cells. Group of cells made up of similar in structure. Similar in structure. Yes, that performs a specific function. To form a tissue. So this is the definition of tissues. So it is a group of cells made up of similar structure that performs a specific function to form a tissue. So here the tissues are just in this topic today we should discuss about different tissues in plant cells and animal cells. For example, so today's topic we are going to discuss about plant tissues. First, plant tissues. So plant tissue. So generally there are two type of tissues present in the plant. Now one is a meristematic tissue and other is a permanent tissues. Two type of tissues. Growing tissue or meristematic tissues. So growing tissue or meristematic tissues. Second one is permanent tissues. Permanent tissues. In that simple permanent tissue. Complex permanent tissue. So these are the plant tissues. Now we are dealing with the plant tissues. Plants. So first of all we should learn about so in unicellular organisms, for example amoeba, paramecium, euglena. So these unicellular organisms are made with a single cell. Even though it is made with single cell, it performs all the activities like movement and exchange of gases and excretion and nutrition. How it is possible? Even though amoeba, so amoeba being a single celled organism, see here, so this is a amoeba. So what kind of cell it is? A single unicellular organism. Amoeba generally lives in water. It can be only seen with electronic microscope It doesn't have any specific organs, so its body is made with a single cell. Even though it is a single cell organism, it performs all the body activities like nutrition. What is that? Nutrition. It takes food. It takes food from its surroundings by extending their pseudopodia. So these finger-like projections known as pseudopodia. What is that? Pseudopodia. So these are the finger-like projections. By extending this pseudopodia, simply they catch the prey, and this prey should be become part of cytoplasm, and then it form a vacuole around the prey, and it forms as a food vacuole. It forms as a food vacuole. So these finger-like projections simply when simple, for example, diatoms, unicellular, another unicellular living beings, diatoms, when approach the amoeba simply extend its pseudopodia and takes into the this pseudopodia into inside the pseudopodia, and a vacuole forms around the diatoms, and it becomes as a food vacuole, and slowly it digests all the food, and the waste materials also eliminated through its body surface. So even though it is a single cellular, but it is doing the activity of taking food. So it serves as nutrition and excretion. So the waste materials should be excreted through its body surface. So there is no specific organs for excretion. In amoeba, there is no specific organs for excretion. In spite of absence of any excretory organs, simply through their body surface, through the process of diffusion, it throws out all the waste materials from its body to the surroundings. So excretion is done. It takes a food and it moves. It moves with the help of pseudopodia by swimming. So it can move, it can feed, and it can excrete waste materials. So this is the being a single cellular. But in multicellular organisms, when the body design grows, when their size increases, there are so many special tissues are formed. So we also know that. So a similar group of cells, they become into a tissue. Tissues become into organs. Organs become into organ system. So even when the multicellular organisms, in the multicellular organisms, there are some specialized cells. There are grouped to form into tissues. So these tissues, they perform different activities. They perform different organisms. So for example, see in our body, we have some tissues like muscular tissue. Muscular tissue. So we have muscular tissue. The muscular tissue, what is the role of muscular tissue? They contract and relax. By so being a multicellular organisms, in multicellular organisms, some cells are grouped to form tissues. These tissues, they perform different activities. For example, in human beings, we have muscle cells, muscle tissue. What is the role of muscle tissue? Simply the muscle tissue, they contract and relax. By doing this, we can move. It is helpful in the movement. So muscle tissue helps in the movement. So we have blood. So blood is being a liquid connective tissue. It transports food materials from distant parts along with oxygen, carbon dioxide. It also transports hormones, enzymes to different parts of the body. So blood is a fluid connective tissue. It helps in the movement. It helps in the transportation of food substances. So that is the role of connective tissue, fluid connective tissue, blood. So nerve tissue, we have nerve cells in body. Suppose they are called neurons. They take messages from outside and they convey to the brain and the spinal cord, and they generate responses. These responses they reach the muscles. As a result, muscles act, and we have the response. We have the irritability. We can respond to the changes that occur in our surroundings. So, by seeing by this, we can understand these muscles, this muscle tissue, these tissues, they perform different activities in animals. Like that, today, so tissue implants. Just to focus on tissues implants. So, what about growing tissue or meristematic tissue? If you observe a plant, so this is a plant. For example, a stem. This is a stem. So, what is a growing tissue? What is meristematic tissue? Where they are present? So, tissues are in plants. Some special. There are some differences in plant tissue and animal tissues. What are the differences? In plant tissues, the plants are not movable. First point, they are fixed to one point. They grow upside. They grow taller. They are fixed to one point. They grow taller by fixing one point, and they need not carbon dioxide, because mainly the tissues are dead cells. The plant tissues mainly because they are fixed to one point. They grow upside taller, mostly living cells and as well as dead cells. And one more thing, plant tissues, some points in plants, the development and growth is restricted to certain areas, mainly stems, the tip of the stem, tip of the roots. So, in plants, the growth and development is not uniform. Understand my point? In plants, growth and development is not uniform, and it does not occur throughout its life. It is some point. So, from particularly the tip. So, see here, this is a stem. For example, it is a stem. In the stem, this is the tip. Okay. So, this is very in this tip. There are specialized cells are present. These are called meristematic cells, and these tissues are called meristematic tissues. So, meristematic tissues are the tissues. They are rapidly dividing cells. They are having rapidly dividing cells. There are very small cells with thin cell walls. They are fastly dividing. These cells are present in the tip of the stems, tip of the roots. So, tip of the stem means a shoot. Tip of the stem means a shoot. So, these so how many meristematic tissues are present? How many? Depending upon the location of where they are present. Depending on the location of where they are present, meristematic tissues are three types. How many types? Three types. Number one, apical meristematic tissue. Second, intercalary meristematic tissue. Second one is lateral meristematic tissue. Third one is intercalary meristematic tissue. So, let us draw the diagram. So, these meristematic tissues are number one, apical meristematic tissue. Apical meristematic tissue. Number two, lateral meristematic tissue. Lateral meristematic tissue. 3. Intercalary meristematic tissue. So depending on the location where they are present, so write down. So in plant tissues, these are the growing or meristematic tissues. Growing tissues or meristematic tissues, or they are depending upon the location. These are grouped into 3 types: apical meristematic tissue, lateral meristematic tissue, intercalary meristematic tissue. Now, if you observe a stem, this tip is called shoot. At the top of the stem, what is present? A shoot is present. Here, this is called apical meristematic tissue is present. Here, apical meristematic tissue is present. So, what is the role of apical meristematic tissue? It develops, it increases the size of the stem. It increases the size of the stem. It increases the size of the root. If it is present in the roots, it increases the size of the roots. So that is the role of apical meristematic tissue. Understand my point? What is the role of apical meristematic tissue? It increases the size of the stem, also size of the roots. Understand? So generally it present on the tip of the stem, which is known as a shoot. So this type of cell is called apical meristematic tissue. And next one is called here. What is that? Lateral meristematic tissue. Second one, lateral meristematic tissue. What is where it is present? In the lateral sides of the stem. Lateral parts of the stem. Lateral meristematic tissue is present. It increases the girth of the stem. It increases the girth, that means width of the stem. It increases the width of the stem. That is the role of lateral meristematic tissue. And the third one is known as intercalary meristematic tissue. So when you observe the stem, we have some nodes on it. We have some nodes. We have some nodes. So these are called nodes. కణుపులు అంటాం కదా, కాండం మీద ఏముంటాయి, కణుపులు ఉంటాయి కదా. దీస్ ఆర్ నోట్స్. సో ఇన్ దిస్ లొకేషన్ వీ హ్యావ్ intercalary meristematic tissue. We notice here intercalary meristematic tissue. What is the role of this? It increases the size of the nodes. It increases the size of the nodes, and also from the nodes give rise to branches. Nodes give rise to branches. So it indirectly helps in the formation of branches. So on the stem. So these nodes are present on the stem. So this point it bears intercalary meristematic tissue, which helps in the development of branches. This intercalary meristematic tissue helps in the development of branches. So this is the classification of meristematic tissue. So how the cells are present? So what are the features of cells of meristematic tissue? What are the main features? Because see here, these cells, this meristematic tissue having the cells of thin cell walls. Thin cell walls. So these cells having thin cell walls and a prominent nucleus, and cytoplasm is very dense. The cytoplasm is very dense. It has the cells. Meristematic tissues have the cells which have the dense cytoplasm, a thin cell wall, and a prominent nucleus. And especially these cells are fastly dividing. They are fastly dividing. So that's why the growth is very faster. They are fastly dividing cells. So that's why they are present at the tip of the stems, tip of the roots, and lateral side of the stem and nodes of the stem. As a result, the plants increases rapidly. This is the role of growing tissue or meristematic tissue. Understand my point? So now, what about permanent tissue? Do you know about permanent tissue? What are the two types of permanent tissue? Simple permanent tissue, complex permanent tissue. What are the simple permanent tissue? Give some names if you know that. So parenchyma. So parenchyma, simple permanent tissue. First, let us focus on simple permanent tissue. Number one is parenchyma. Parenchyma. Number two, collenchyma. What is that? Collenchyma. Third in sclerenchyma. Sclerenchyma. So when this meristematic tissue, these cells matured, whenever its function is over, these fastly dividing cells, they mature into matured cells, and then they differentiate. The cells differentiate and converts into permanent tissues. Understand my point? When its role is over, these meristematic tissue, they slowly differentiated as a matured cells, and become into permanent cells. So permanent tissues are of two types: simple permanent tissue, complex permanent. These simple permanent tissue are present under the epidermis. They are present in plant. The simple permanent tissues are present under the epidermis. Mainly, there are three types: parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. So let us focus on what is parenchyma. So parenchyma tissues, see here. So these are I am drawing tissues, parenchyma. See here, loosely packed cells are present. Loosely packed cells. Says this is called parenchyma. Simple permanent tissue. Where it is located? Inside the epidermis. How many cells? Simple 2-3 layers of tissue cells are present under the surface of the cuticle or epidermis. So in plant, outer epidermis, inner epidermis is present. Under the outer epidermis, simple 2-3 layers of this parenchyma cells are present. In this parenchyma, the cells are loosely packed. There are more intercellular spaces. See here, this cell having the space here. Here the space. So they having intercellular spaces. These are space. Intercellular spaces. Intercellular space. So this is a parenchyma, simple permanent tissue present under the surface of upper epidermis. The cells are loosely packed. Cells are round, and they having a thin cell wall. The cells having a thin cell wall, prominent nucleus, and they having intercellular spaces, more spaces. They are loosely arranged. And what is the main role of this parenchyma? They store food. food.
Helps in the photosynthesis.
Yeah, yes. So next point. So what is the role of parenchyma? They store food. So and this parenchyma stores food in some plants. In some plants, parenchyma, sometimes they have chloroplast. Sometimes they have a chloroplast. What is the role of chloroplast? Chloroplast having chlorophyll. Chlorophyll helps in the photosynthesis. That's why they are called chlorenchyma. If the parenchyma cells, if they have chloroplast in it, then it is called chlorenchyma. It helps in the photosynthesis. Understand my point? So, this is generally it is called parenchyma. Whenever it consists of a chloroplast, they have chlorophyll in it, and then it participates in the photosynthesis. Such parenchyma is called chlorenchyma. What is that? Chlorenchyma. That means the tissue which performs photosynthesis and produce food. Understand? So this is a variety of this is a type of parenchyma. What is that? Chlorenchyma. Some water plants, mainly aquatic plants, hydrilla. Do you know about hydrilla? It is a aquatic plant. Generally, the hydrilla floats on the water. How it is possible? Because in their parenchyma, they have more air spaces. More air spaces. Due to the air spaces, they float on the water. So, such parenchyma is known as aerenchyma. What is that? Aerenchyma. So, parenchyma, different parenchyma. In parenchyma, there are two types. What is that? Chlorenchyma. What is that? Chlorenchyma means they participate in the photosynthesis. Photosynthesis. And another one is called aerenchyma. What is that? Aerenchyma, which helps in the floating. Which helps in the floating. Generally, it present in the water plants, aquatic plants. So, parenchyma is a simple permanent tissue. This tissue have the cells of a thin cell wall, and they have more intercellular spaces. And sometimes, if this parenchyma, if they contain chlorophyll, then it is called chlorenchyma, which helps in the photosynthesis and produces a food. In aquatic plants like hydrilla, the parenchyma cells sometimes they have more intercellular spaces, and they have air spaces. They have air spaces, and